when you receive applications from the various prospective candidates, we have to do a proper screening of all the applications. Whenever we are employing a person to the organization, so he should be an asset to the organization. If you have a very huge HR department, then it implies that the organization has a large number of employees which are working under it. In order for the survival and growth of the organization, we should keep on hiring people for the job. Hello everyone, I am Purnima, faculty in the Department of Commerce, Vidhyaashram Pre-University College, Temple of Excellence. In my previous sessions, I have covered almost 5 chapters for the business studies. So, in this session, we will be taking up the 6th chapter of the second PUC syllabus, that is staffing. Now, as the name itself suggests, it means you are appointing people for the organization. So, any organization cannot survive without the human resource. So, it is the most important resource for any business organization. So, one person cannot do all the work. So, he needs to employ people to get his job done. So, this process of employing people into the organization, we call it as staffing. Now, in this session of staffing, so we will be discussing what is the meaning of the word staffing, then what is the importance of staffing, how important it is, what is the significance of this process of staffing, and then we also will discuss the evolution of human resource management. So, how this concept of human resource management came into existence. So, this also we will be discussing here. Then, the next important thing is the staffing process. So, how do we just recruit people? How do we hire people for the various jobs? Then, we will also discuss about the various aspects of staffing. Then, the recruitment and selection, then training and development. So, these are all the aspects of staffing which we will be discussing here. Then, we will also discuss the difference between training and development. Then, the various training methods which we are employing, that is the on-the-job and off-the-job method. So, all these things will be discussed in this chapter, that is staffing. So, let us come to know what is the meaning of the word staffing. So, as the name itself suggests, it is putting people to jobs. So, what I mean by the word staffing is you are employing people to your organization, or you try to see you hire people and get the jobs done, or putting people to jobs. Now, how does this begin? It begins with workforce planning and includes different other functions like recruitment, selection, training, development, promotion, compensation, performance appraisal of the workforce. Now, we all should understand that staffing is nothing but you are hiring people for the jobs which we have created. So, now, when we are hiring these people, what is the process of hiring? So, how do you just select the people and what is the process involved, that we will be discussing here. So, we should understand that in staffing, it includes recruitment. Now, what is this process of recruitment? That I will be discussing in my future sessions. Then, how do you select the people? Then, how do you train the people? What type of training you are giving? How you are developing the workforce? And what is the process of promotion you are giving? Then, what is the compensation you will be giving for the people? And lastly, the performance appraisal. That means how you are evaluating the people in the organization. So, all these activities will be in this staffing function. So, we should understand that staffing is a most important function of management. So, among the so many persons here, we are just selecting one person. That is, we are searching for the right person for the right job. So, we can also think that staffing may involve a combination of employees, including daily wages, consultants, and contract employees. So you should understand that staffing means it includes daily wages also. So in some companies, they appoint people on a daily basis, that is the laborers, it may be the loaders, or the unskilled labor which is available in the market, they will be appointed on a daily basis on daily wages. So even that appointment we call it as staffing. Then consultants. So the company may appoint consultants for hiring for the various jobs. So that also we can include in staffing. Then it also includes contract employees. Now, what is this contract employees? So you are appointing people for a particular time period. It may be a period of 1 year or 2 years. So even this also, it will be included in this process of staffing. Then staffing recognizes the importance of every single person employed by the organization, as it is the individual worker who is the ultimate performer. So we should understand that staffing is recognize the importance of every single person. So every single person who is appointed to the organization is important, because ultimately who will be doing the work, and if he does the job well, then he will be an asset to the organization. So whenever you are selecting people for the organization, you should see that what is the potential he has and how he can do the job. So suppose our assessment of the person is right, then it is fine. But suppose we think that person is very capable, but then when he does the job, he proves himself incapable of handling the job, then it will be wastage of human resource. So whenever we are appointing people, we should see that they are for the right job. Then staffing function follows planning and organizing function. So we know that first function of management is planning. Second function is organizing. So in organizing, we will be creating various positions in each departments, and then for each position, we will be having this qualification, job description, job analysis. So for each job, we should decide what type of a qualification is necessary, and then we hire the people. So staffing function follows the planning and organizing functions. So after deciding what is to be done, how it is to be done, and after creation of the organization structure, the management is in a position to know the human resource requirement of the enterprise at different levels. So as we have discussed in my earlier sessions, so in the organizing function, so we will be dividing the entire work of the organization into different departments, and then we will be creating positions in each department and then hire people for each of these positions. So when you are creating positions in these departments, so you will know exactly what is the number of people you need to hire. So what type of people are needed and what is the qualification. So all this will be decided in this process of staffing. So among these three candidates, you can see that one person has been selected. Now, we should also know that once the number and types of personnel to be selected is determined, management starts with activities related to recruiting, selecting, and training to fulfill the requirements of the enterprise. So once you decide how many people you need for each department, then you have to just start with the process of recruiting. So what is this recruiting? How do you recruit? How do you select? How do you train? And in other words, how you are fulfilling the requirements of the enterprise. So all this will be the process of staffing. Then, so in the existing enterprise, staffing is a continuous process. So just as we say that management is a continuous process, we should also know that staffing is also a continuous process, because new jobs may be created and some of the existing employees may leave the organization. So the staffing is considered as a continuous process because there is a lot of technological development going on all around us, and as and when the technology develops, we need to have skilled persons who are having the knowledge of this latest technology. So there will be a need to find skilled personnel to use this latest technology available in the market. So for that we need to have this process of staffing. Then other than that, there may be some other reasons for the persons leaving the organization. It may be due to illness, or it may be due to retirement, or it may be to some other reason. Some of the persons employed may be leaving the organization. So when persons leave the organization or employees leave the organization, we need to hire new persons in their places. So this staffing process keeps on going throughout the year, and we call it as a continuous process. Then next we will discuss what is the importance of staffing. So why this staffing is important? So when we discuss the importance of staffing, we should understand that it helps in discovering and obtaining competent persons for various jobs. Now in the process of staffing, we will be hiring persons for each job position. So for each jobs created in each of the departments, so we have to conduct a job analysis. Now what is this job analysis? So job analysis involves what are the duties, what are the responsibilities, and what is the authority of each position in the job. So all this has to be clearly defined, and then later on we also have to just think of what are the skills needed by that particular employee. Suppose it is a technical kind of job, so we need a person with technical competence. Suppose we need a person for the accounts department, then we should hire a person who is well versed in the accounts. That is, he should be a BCom graduate or he should be a chartered accountant. Suppose he is for the legal department, then a person who is competent in law, or lawyer or an advocate can be appointed for such important positions in the organization. So depending on the type of positions we have created, so we have to define what the job involves and what is the qualification needed, what are the skills needed, and after that we have to hire the people. Then while hiring people also, we have to see whether we need an experienced hand or a fresher. So all these things will be decided in this process of staffing, and when you are deciding all this, so it helps in discovering and obtaining competent persons for various jobs. So when you are calling for application, so when you give an advertisement in the paper, so you will be inviting applications from prospective candidates. So when the candidates apply for the job, so you will be going through all the various applications, and then you will be discussing the various competent persons who will be able to handle our jobs well. Then the second importance of staffing is it makes for higher performance by putting the right person on the right job. So when you receive applications from the various prospective candidates, we have to do a proper screening of all the applications. Once you screen all the applications, and then you select the right person for the right job. Now how do you select the right person for the right job? So we have to just check whether the application meets all our qualifications. So what type of a qualification the person has, and what are the various personal skill that person has, and then what is the personality of the person, how is his temperament. So all these things we will be taking into consideration, and then we will be just appointing that person. So when we are appointing that person, we should understand that we are putting the right person for the right job. So if he is a BCom graduate, we see that he is appointed in the account section. Suppose he is an engineering graduate, then we appointing him for the technical job where technical knowledge is needed. So in this way, we have to see that the person with the proper creativity and intelligence and knowledge, they are appointed for the right sort of jobs. For example, if it is an advertising related job, we need to have a person who is very, very creative. He should have innovative ideas, and he should have knowledge of art and skills and singing and all these things. So when this person has all these skills, then he is the best person to be appointed for the advertising department. So in this way, when you are putting the people for the job, we should ensure that he is the right person for the right job. Then next one is, it ensures continuous survival and growth of the enterprise through succession planning for managers. So as I had discussed earlier, staffing is a continuous process and it goes on throughout the life of the organization. So why we should call it as a continuous process? Because it ensures continuous survival and growth of the enterprise. So when there are no people to do the jobs, then the business organization cannot run. So in order for the survival and growth of the organization, we should keep on hiring people for the jobs. So the one person who is just investing the money in the business, he cannot do all the jobs himself, and he has to take the help of this human resource or the employees to get the jobs done. And so it is important for all of us to understand that staffing ensures the survival and growth of the enterprise through succession planning for managers. Now, what is this succession planning for managers? A person who has been appointed as an clerk, he may be given proper training and development, and he may rise to the rank of a assistant general manager, and there if he performs well, then he can be again promoted as the general manager and then the zonal head. So in this way, we should create a succession career plan so that the persons who are appointed, they do not stagnate in that position for a very long time, and they just grow in their career, and as they grow in their career, they are also contributing for the betterment of the organization. Then next importance of staffing is, it helps to ensure proper utilization of the human resource, or proper or optimum utilization of the human resource. So we should understand that employees are the human resource of the organization. So whenever we are employing a person to the organization, so he should be an asset to the organization. How can he be an asset? By his work performance. So if he does his job very well, then he becomes an asset to the institution, and if he does not do his job well, then it may lead to wastage of resources, it may lead to wastage of time and energy, and all these things will be a burden, or it will be a loss for the organization. So in this way, whenever we are having this process of staffing, it will ensure that there is optimum utilization. So each of the human resource employed, or all the employees, are giving their 100% effort for the job. Then by avoiding overmanning, it prevents underutilization of personnel and high labor costs. So when you are appointing persons for the organization, you should understand that there should not be overmanning. Now what is this overmanning? You are hiring too many people for very little jobs. So this is not good. So when there are too many people for the jobs to be done, some of them will be very lazy, they don't do the jobs, and it will be creating an extra burden for the company. So you will have to be paying all the extra workers who are not working also. So, and another thing is, there will be underutilization of the human resource. So all this will be a burden, or it will increase the cost or expenditure of the organization, and proper care should be taken to see that there is no overmanning of the organization, and also at the same time it avoids disruption of work by indicating in advance the shortages of personnel. So whenever you are hiring people for the organization, you should know that exact number of workers you need and what is the work they have to do. When you are hiring the exact number of people, then you will be ensuring that there is maximum utilization of the people or employees in the organization. And through this process of staffing, we will also be able to indicate in advance the shortage of personnel. Suppose there are some of the persons have left the organization, then how do you adjust for this job? Suppose there are 3 or 4 workers who are on leave, then who has to do that job and who will be given this additional responsibility of the persons who are on leave? So all these shortages, because of shortages of personnel, there should not be any disruption of work of the organization. We should see that the organizational work keeps on running smoothly, and this can be done with proper planning. So this proper planning of the staff also is ensured by this process of staffing. Then next importance of staffing is it improves job satisfaction and morale of the employees through objective assessment and fair reward for their contribution. So we should understand that through the process of staffing, we are improving their job satisfaction. So when he is a competent person and he is doing his job well, then he will be getting a recognition for his job. We should see that the persons who are doing very well in their jobs, they should be properly recognized and rewarded. So when you are rewarding them and recognizing their efforts, then it will build in them a sense of job satisfaction and increase the morale of the employees. So you are boosting their morale and also ensuring that they have job satisfaction. Now, how this is done? Through objective assessment and fair reward. So you assess the performance of employees. So how each employee is doing his job, and then whoever is the best performer, you recognize him and give him his reward for his contribution. So when we are doing this, so we will be creating job satisfaction and also boosting the morale of the employees. Then staffing function must be performed efficiently by all organizations. So this is the most important function of any organization. So if you appoint the right staff, they can lead the organization to success. But if the wrong staff are applied, they may try to harm the organization, or they may try to pull down the organization, which is very, very dangerous. So when we are appointing the right people, we ensure that the organization is in a path to success. Then, so if right kind of employees are not available, it will lead to wastage of materials. As I told you earlier, if the person is incompetent, then it may lead to wastage of materials, time, effort, energy. So there is a wastage of materials, wastage of time, wastage of effort, wastage of energy. So all this will result in lower productivity and poor quality products. So if you want to ensure a very good quality product, or you want to have very good organizational success, then it is very, very essential for us to appoint the right people for the right job. And when you have the right people for the right job, we can expect greater productivity. Now we will just look into what are the activities involved in staffing. So through this process of staffing, we have created a new department called as the HR department, that is the Human Resource Department. So as you all know, because of the Industrial Revolution, a large number of persons were recruited for the various jobs in various industries. So this gave rise to a new department called as the HR department. So as organizations grow and number of persons employed increases, so a separate department called the Human Resource Department was formed, which has specialists in managing the people. So whenever there are large number of people working in an organization, we need to have a separate department called as the human resource department, which is good at managing the people who have been appointed. So the management of human resource is a specialized area which requires expertise of many people. So when you have more than 2000 to 3000 employees working in an organization, there was a need to create a separate department called as the human resource department, which looks into the various aspects of human resource. Then they have a specialized area. So these people who are in the HR department, they will be specialists in that area, and they will be looking into all the problems of the human resource of that particular organization. Now, let us see about what this human resource department will do. So, the number of human resource specialists and the size of this department gives an indication of the size of the business as well. Now, in the staffing, we have this HRD. So, this HRD will do almost all the staffing for the organization. So, depending on the size of the human resource department, we can decide the size of the organization. So, if it is a very large organization, various divisional structures, then we will have a very huge human resource department also, which will be looking into the various aspects of the human resource. So, whether it is the human resource relating to the marketing department, or HR related to the legal department, HR related to accounts department, HR related to production department, HR related to the accounts department. So, the size of the HR department will decide the size of the organization. If you have a very huge HR department, then it implies that the organization has a large number of employees which are working under it. Then, for a very large company, the human resource department itself will contain specialists for each function of this department. So, as I told you earlier, so if you have to hire somebody for the legal department, then you will have specialists in the HR department who will be well versed in the duties, responsibilities and jobs relating to the legal department, and they will specify the qualifications needed for that legal department. Then, if you have a marketing department, for the marketing department, so what sort of persons you need, what qualification you need, that will be decided by the specialists of the HR department itself. So, for each department, we will have specialists who will be hiring the candidates, who will be testing the candidates, and then who will be selecting the candidates. Then, HR management includes many specialized activities and duties which the human resource personnel must perform. So, here you can see that they are scrutinizing the profiles of various candidates. So, this scrutiny is done by specialists. Now, who are these specialists? They are from the HR department. So, they are having a scrutiny of all the applications, and then they will be deciding the best application. So, HR management includes many specialized activities and duties which the human resource personnel must perform. So, they have their own duties which they have to do. Then, we will be looking into what are the duties of the HR department. Under staffing, this is an important function of the HRD department. So, what are the duties of the HRD department as a part of staffing? So, in this, we have the recruitment or search for qualified people. You can see here they are searching for this qualified people. Now, how do you search for qualified people? So, in the recruitment process, the first thing is we will have to invite applications from prospective candidates. So, in the recruitment process, so you are inviting applications. How do you invite applications? through the process of advertisement. So how do you advertise? It may be through the media, various social media, or you can just put a board outside the gate relating to job vacancies. So there are various ways of inviting applications from the prospective candidates. Now next we will just see how they will place an ad in the newspaper. Now when we are in the process of recruitment, what are the various activities involved? The first thing is analyzing the jobs. So what are the various jobs to be done, and what are the various duties of each job, responsibilities of each job that we have to think. Then, so you collect information about jobs and prepare job description. So with the help of job analysis, you create a job description. So with the help of this job description, you will be just deciding about the qualification of the job, the experience required, skill required, the temperament of the candidate. So all this you will be deciding. Then next, the duties of this HRD in staffing will be developing compensation and incentive plans. So you develop a compensation plan. Well, what is the meaning of the word compensation? Compensation is nothing but deciding what is the salary you are paying, or what is the wage if it is a daily wage laborer. So what is the daily wages you are paying to that person? So you have to, this is all done by the HRD department in staffing. Then what are the incentive plans? So suppose the person has given some outstanding achievement, then what kind of incentives you are giving? Whether you are giving him a bungalow, or whether you are sending him on a foreign tour, or what other things you can give. So all this will be decided by the HR department. Then the next duties of the HRD is training and development of employees. So they are providing training and development of the employees. So you have appointed a person to the organization, then you have to create a career path for him. So how do you create a career path? So you give him proper training and proper development and see that he rises in his position. So he should not remain stagnant in that position for a very long time, and with the help of the company's proper training and development facilities, the employee should be able to have a career growth in the organization. So training and development for efficient performance and career growth. So these are all the duties which are done by the HRD department. Then next, what does this HRD do? So it will also help in maintaining labor relations and union management relations. So maintaining labor relations. So labor relation is very, very important. So any company cannot run without labor. They are the main source of realizing the organizational goals. So if the production stops, everything will stop, and then we cannot, it is very difficult for the organization to run. So a better cordial relation with the labor is very, very essential for the smooth functioning of an organization. Maintaining labor relations and union management relation. Here union means trade union and management relations. So both are very, very important. So if there is a trade union in the organization, we should ensure, this HRD department, they should ensure that the trade union and management, they are having a cordial relationship with one another. So this is very important, because if there is no cordial relations, then there will be always strikes and lockouts, which is which is a loss to the company, and which is a very unpleasant situation for the organization. Then they also have to handle grievances and complaints. So whatever the complaints the laborers are having, so they should be able to handle the grievances. Suppose the leave policy is going against the interest of the employees, or if they are having any complaints relating to the facilities provided by the company. So all these should be looked after by the HR department. Then they should also provide for social security and welfare of employees. So social security means, in other words, it is you can have insurance, group insurance or something like that, so that there is a security for all the life of the employees working in the organization, and also the welfare of the organization. So here welfare means you have to ensure that if there are any persons working on hazardous elements or machinery as such, you should see that the employees are properly protected. They should be given with protective gear to see that their health is not in a risk. So, proper security protective measures should be taken to see that the employees are well protected by the management and they take care of the health of the employees. Then defending the company in lawsuits and avoiding legal complications. Suppose any of the employees, he goes to the court to seek any compensation or something like that, then it is the duty of the HR department to defend the company in case any of the employees have filed a suit against the company, and any legal complications should be handled by the HR department. Next, we will just discuss about the evolution of human resource management. So, what is this human resource? So, we can see that they are all professionals who are appointed, and throughout the world, wherever there is a job position, we need this help of human resources. So, human resource management in its present form has evolved from a number of significant interrelated developments which date back to the era of industrial revolution. So, after this evolution of the industrial revolution, or once we had this industrialization of activities, only then we came to understand that we need the help of labor to get the work done. And then we could also notice that people used to be exploited to a very large extent. So, some of the persons who were running these industries, so through the help of their money power and their manpower, they used to try to exploit the labor who were appointed for these industries, and as such, there was a need to regulate this labor exploitation. So, in order to regulate this labor exploitation, they came up a new kind of rules and regulations for the protection of the laborers all around the world. And after that protection of the labor organization, then we developed into this concept of human resource management. So, before, whenever a person used to be appointed into an organization, he was just identified as a liability to the organization because he had to be paid his salary. But with the emergence of this concept of human resource management, so we consider human resource as an asset to the company. They are not a liability, they are an asset. So, why do we consider them as an asset? Because they are contributing for the success of the organization. An organization cannot run without human efforts. So, we have to ensure that our human resources are properly managed. Now, who has to manage them? The HR department has to manage them. So, this concept of human resource management came into existence both for the welfare of the employees and for the welfare of the top management itself. So, the emergence of the trade union movement led to the need of a person who could act as an effective link between the owners and workers. So, as I told you earlier, with the onset of the industrial revolution, it gave rise to a class of people called as the labor class. So, they were the most exploited lot, we could say, and these employers who were hiring them, they used to give them long hours of work, and the wages which were given were very, very minimal, and there was over exploitation of the labor class, and because of which the labor class they just form themselves into a trade union. So in order to protect their own interest, so they formed a trade union such, and then they began to fight for their own rights and their own whatever the grievances they had against the management. They just formed themselves into trade unions and began to fight for their rights and also against the exploitation practices which were followed by the management. So this trade union movement gave rise to this aspect of HRM, or the human resource management. So they were acting as a link between the owners and the workers. Then in this human evolution, we could see that there was an introduction of the factory system. So in the factory system, they were hiring thousands of workers who were being employed under one roof. So we used to have lot of people who are being hired for the various jobs in the factory. So the job of hiring people was given to the personnel officer, who was assigned the responsibility of recruitment, selection and placement of personnel. So before this concept of human resource management, this personnel officer who was appointed, he was responsible for appointing the people for the various jobs. So as you all know, because of industrialization, there was a large scale production of goods, and for this large scale production of goods, we needed human resource to work in the organization. So thousands of workers had to be appointed, and to appoint these workers, we had a personnel officer who used to appoint the workers, and it was his responsibility to recruit, select and place the personnel. Then with the help of this human resource, the human relations approach recognizes human factor as the most important instrument of success in an organization. So the aspect where the evolution of human resource management, so it recognized that human relations is an most important factor. So if you just don't appoint to a person who has come to do the job, so he is a human factor in the organization. So you respect his feelings, you respect his aspirations, you respect his emotions, and you give him proper motivation to see that he does the job well for the organization. So once the employee has been recognized as a human being, then he should be given proper channelizing, proper motivation, and see that he does his job well. So human relations approach recognizes the human factor as the most important instrument of success. So with this notion, we should understand that employees of the organization were recognized as a human resource. Then fast changing technological developments, however, necessitated new skill development and training of employees. People came to be recognized as valuable resource which can be further developed. So we can see that day to day, every day we can see there is lot of technological development going on everywhere. So in keeping with the rapid changes in technology or advancement in technology, we need to hire people who are skilled in this latest technology. So for that, we need the help of human resource management. We can always train our existing personnel for the latest skills, and you give them proper training, and after that we are recognizing the human resource as a valuable resource which can be further developed. So before this concept of human resource management came into existence, we could see that people who was appointed as a clerk was remaining in that position for a very long time. So if he is appointed as a clerk, he will remain a clerk the whole his life. So there was no there was no career path created, and there were no avenues open for him to climb up the ladder in the corporate ladder. So this had to be stopped, and because of that we had to create career paths for each employee. So how do you create career paths? By giving them proper training and proper proper development, you see that they are promoted to higher positions, and when they are promoted to higher positions, they will be in a better job position, which gives them job satisfaction as well as the monetary incentives which they will be giving. Then, in this concept of human resource management, we should also understand that staffing is therefore both a line as well as a staff activity, an essential function of manager as well as the advisory role played by the human resource department. So, we should understand that this human resource management, it is both a line as well as a staff activity. Now, why we call it as a line activity? Because this human resource will be responsible for appointment of all the positions in the organization. So, when you are creating the organizational structure, so you will know exactly what are the number of persons to be hired, what are the qualifications of each job, and what are the skills of each job. So, based on this analysis, you will be hiring all the persons in the organization. So, that we call it as the line function, and also a staff activity, because the persons who are appointed for each of these jobs, they are appointed by the advisory role played by the HR department. So, whenever you are appointing any person, it will be based on the advice given by the HR department. So, they will be advising who has to be appointed and who is best suited for each job. So, this we should understand that evolution of the human resource management is an important aspect in this staffing function. So, they play an advisory role in appointment of individuals, and also they will be laying down the rules, regulations and policies for relating to all aspects of the human resource, right from job description, job analysis, up to the leave policies which are to be followed by the employees, and what are the promotion and transfer policies, what is the kind of training and development you need for each of the employee, and also performance appraisal of each of the employees. So, all these aspects relating to the employees, they will be done by this human resource management department. So, the HR management will be responsible for all these aspects, and in addition, they will be also deciding what is the compensation to be paid and how it is to be paid, whether we are giving them financial incentives, non-financial incentives. So, all these things will be decided by the HR management department or the HRM. So, in other words, a HRM department in an organization will contribute for the success of the organization. So, with this, we have come to the end of this first session on staffing. In my future sessions, I will be discussing about the next concepts related to staffing. Thank you.